All right, so let's review for this chapter 4 test that we're going to take tomorrow. I'm just going to go question by question. I'm not going to necessarily do every single problem on here, just kind of tell you what type of problems they are. Remember where I take a lot of these questions from? The what? Yeah, eventually they come from the book, but from the quizzes, okay? We only had the one quiz, 4.1 to 4.5, okay? And then the last couple sections, we didn't have a quiz on, but we will go over it. So like that last section was that mid-segment stuff, all right? So make sure you know that. So the first two, it says classify by angle measure and side length. Do you remember that one? Okay, classify by the angle measure and the side length. Side length. Okay? So this is numbers 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So what are some of the names? If I classify a triangle, it's classifying triangles. Classify the triangle by the angle measure and the side length. What are some of the names of triangles by their angle measure? Okay, you got right, you got acute, I heard first, and then you got obtuse, right? So you look at the triangle that I give you. I think on the quiz, didn't I give you a right triangle? Okay, I think I gave you a right triangle on a quiz. All right, so what would you call this? You would call it right, okay? Even though it's got a couple acute angles in here, this is still a right triangle because if it's got one right angle, it's called a right triangle. Remember that? Okay, and now, this doesn't really look like, I can't remember on the quiz. We went scalene, didn't we? All right, so I went this, this, and this. So what do I call that thing? Scalene, okay? Is every right triangle a scalene? What if I did this? This would be isosceles, right? So again, two things, right? There's two parts to this problem. Got to name it or classify it by the angle measure and also classify it by the side. So there's two parts to it. You got to get both parts right to get that problem right. Everybody understand that? So make sure you know all that. What about side lengths? Let's list some of the things. We already said scalene, right? What does scalene mean? Right, none of the sides are equal. What does isosceles mean? Two of the sides are equal. That's right. And what if all three sides were equal? That would be equilateral, right? Equilateral. What do we know? I think this was on the quiz as well, wasn't it? I think didn't we have an equilateral? Yeah. I think I gave you this, didn't I, on the quiz? All right, so this is, you could say isosceles if you wanted to for the sides. Okay, you could say equilateral. If it was me, I'd probably say equilateral because all three sides are equal. Okay, what about the angle measure to something like this? Okay, you could say it's equiangular because remember, we talked about if a triangle has all three sides equal, that automatically means what? All three angles are equal to each other, okay? Anytime you have a triangle when all three sides are exactly the same, that means all three angles are exactly the same. All right, so what could you call this triangle? By the angles. You could say it's equiangular. You could say acute, right? All three angles are acute, so you could say acute. Either one of those. You don't have to have them both. Just pick one. But then you got to pick a side length. What about the side lengths? You could call it equilateral because all three sides are equal. And you could also call it isosceles because at least two of the sides are equal, right? So either one of those. All right, enough of that. It's 1 and 2. I expect everybody to get 1 and 2 correct. All right, then you had this one. We talked about this because we just reviewed just the other day, didn't we? Last week? Didn't we review, or we went over the quiz? This is 3 and 4, correct? So this is numbers 3 and 4 on the quiz. What did I put? Like 65 and 65? I think it was 60. I think they're both the same. Okay? All right, and so I ask for this angle, and I also ask for this angle. I'm just using the same numbers. Now, on the test, I'm looking at it right now. These numbers are not both 65, so don't just remember the answer and then write it down. Make sure you know how to do it. Everybody got it? Okay, it's not going to be any harder. It's the same problem, just the numbers are different. So first of all, let's find this angle up top here. Sincere, what do I do? Okay, 65 and 65. I add those together, and I get 130. Does that mean this angle right here? Who is that? He's not in school today, or in my class.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So, does that mean this is 130? No. What do? You got it. You take it, well, not from 65. Take the 130 from 180. Okay, and then what's 180 minus 130? That would be 50. So what's this angle right here? 50 degrees. Okay, now what about this second angle right here? You could do it a couple ways. All right, Sincere, what'd you say? Yeah, you could go 65 plus 50. Remember, this is an exterior angle. These are two remote interior angles. So you could just add those up. All right, 65 plus 50. All right, and that's 115. Now, the only problem with doing it that way, what if you messed up and you didn't get this angle right? And then you're adding a wrong angle to the 65. Would you agree? So you got to be careful with that. You got to make sure that you're really confident that that's correct. What's another way? Let's say you didn't even know this angle right there. Zion, what do you think you're going to do here? That's right, because remember, this forms a straight line, doesn't it? All right, so you could just go 180 minus 65. And guess what you end up with? You end up with 115 either way. But this way, it's not dependent on if you get that problem right here, okay? So just make sure it works both ways, all right? That's what I would do. It almost guarantees that you're going to get it right. Everybody good? All right. Like I said, on the test, same kind of problem, except I don't put 65 and 65. I put another angle there. All right, but it's the same method. Just got to know what to do. All right, let's keep going. Now we're going to do all that congruent triangle stuff. Remember that from the quiz? So, numbers 5, 6, and 7. So numbers 5, 6, and 7 on the test are going to be, I'm not going to do all of these, okay? We just went over this just the other day when we reviewed for the quiz, or not reviewed for the quiz, but we looked at the quiz after you took it, right? We went over the problems. Evan? All right, so let me draw one of these. Let's do this. Let's draw like this. And this one, again, I'm not going to do all three. You got to study a little bit. There you go. All right. Oops. All right, I got to click out of this first before I draw that line. There we go. All right, this should look kind of familiar to you. This looks exactly like the one on the quiz. Do you remember this one? Just to mix it up a little bit, I'm going to go A, B, C, D. It's not the letters we use on the test. Just to make you think a little bit on the test, okay? Now, this one, it's a two-parter again, all right? You're going to have to write a valid congruent statement. So part 1, I'll just write congruence statement. Congruence statement. And then you need to name the postulate. I'll just say that. Name the postulate that justifies why they are congruent I'm just going to say name the postulate. That's going to be the next section. Okay. All right. So that we got to do two things here. We got to have a congruent statement, and you got to give me a reason. Okay. What are some of the reasons? Just name off some of the reasons that it could possibly be. Not this one in particular, just any of them. Side, angle, side. Give me another one. You could do side, side, side. What else? Angle, side, angle. Angle, angle, side, right? How many is that? 4 of them? Yeah, I think we had 4 of them. Now, it says name the postulate. I'll put / theorem. Because you could use a theorem as well, even though I just used the word postulate. All right? But all those ones that we just named, okay, are potential. All right, let's take a look at this. First of all, let's see why. Let's do the part 2 first, okay? Let's see why they are congruent to each other. Well, I got an angle. What else do I know just by looking at the picture? Just by looking at the picture. They didn't tell us, but they kind of did just by the way the picture looks. Simon? A and C? Let's say AC equals AC. All right? So we'll put a little tick mark right there. That's helpful. All right? Everybody with me on that? You should just be able to look at this because this side right here, AC, is shared by both of these triangles. All right? So it's got to be the same, right? It's the same exact thing. So why are these triangles congruent? Well, I got an angle. What else do I have? A side and a second angle. So I got 1 arc, 1 tick mark, 2 arcs. I got 1 arc, 1 tick mark, 2 arcs. So I've got angle, side, angle. So if you wanted to do number 2 first, okay, you could say angle, side, angle. What about the first one? Name the congruent statement. So what do you want to call this? Let's do this. Let's do this triangle right here. What are you going to call that? This triangle right here, BAC. This one right here. What is it? You said D? Okay, you're whispering. I can't barely hear you. DAC? All right, let's call it that. It's a triangle. So what do we write? A little triangle symbol, correct? All right, don't put an angle. Don't put nothing. Put a triangle. So you want to call it DAC? That's fine. Put the little congruent symbol. Then we put another what? Another triangle, right? These are both triangles. So put the triangle in front of it. Now you got to be careful on this. If I go DAC, I got to go a certain way on this next one. Look, I went D, which has no arc. Then I went A, which has got 2. And then C, which has got 1. So I went none, 2, 1. What am I going to do over here? None, which is B. 1, which is A. And then, of course, C. So if you go DAC, you have to go BAC. You have to. Actually, I lied. That's not right. I went DAC. I went none, 2, 1. Then on this one, that's right. I'm glad I double-checked myself on this one. Look, I went none, 2, 1. So I got to go what? B, C, A. Did you catch that? All right. Make sure you see that. So the D and the B have got to go together. The A and the C got to go together, and the C and this A got to go together. All right, so there you go. So there's 3 of these. I'm not going to do all 3 of them. I did 1 of them for you. All right, they're going to be different letters, but the picture looks exactly the same. It's taken right from the quiz. So hopefully you hung on to that quiz because you're going to see some stuff like this. Now, 8, 9, and 10 is that one where it says state the additional information. Remember that one? Can't wait. We're doing important stuff. This is the one that a lot of people messed up on the quiz. We went over it the other day. All right, I think we went over every one of them. I'm only going to do one of them for you here. All right. We'll do this one. I think this is the first one on the quiz like this. And I think it's... Oh, that one's not too good. Let's do this. Bring that down to about right there. That's pretty close. Doesn't have to be perfect, I guess. But I always like them as perfect as I can make them. All right, and so, oops. They say this one's equal to this one, and that's it. That's all they tell you. Again, we'll go A, B, C, D on this. All right, so here's what they ask you to do. They say, state what additional information is required. Remember that from the quiz? What additional information is required to know that the triangles are congruent because of this reason. And the reason is angle, side angle. So they give you angle, side angle. All right? So let's take a look. Just looking at the picture itself, what else could I tell just by looking at the picture? BD, that's right. Okay? So I know for a fact that BD equals BD. Yes? But that's it. But now what I got to do is I got to state some additional information, some stuff that they didn't tell us in order to make these triangles congruent because of angle, side angle. So watch what I do. I've got an angle right here. You know that side right there. Where's the other angle? What is it? You can't just say B. You can't just say ABD. Right, ABD, this one right here. You see that angle right there? You can't just say B, because that could be B. This whole angle right here could be B. You can't just say B. But you can say what? A, B, D. That's this one. So what would this angle right here have to be? CBD. Good. If I went ABD, I would go CBD. So what's my answer? They're angles, aren't they? They are not triangles. A lot of people on the quiz wrote triangles for this. It's not. What is it? It's a what? It's an angle. So this angle is ABD. And then what's this angle? CBD. And that is the additional information. So if I knew that this angle was equal to this angle, then those triangles would be congruent because of angle, side, angle. That's the additional information right there. That's your answer. I gave you two more. Okay, it is 8, 9, and 10. I'm not going to do all of those for you. I did one for you. We good? All right. Now, I think that covered everything from 4.1 to 4.5. Now, 4.6 was really close to what we just finished doing, except you have right triangles this time. All right? So, again, I'm going to do one of them for you. By the way, this is 11, 12, and 13. So there's three of these, 11, 12, and 13. Look in your homeworks, okay? That's why it's good to have tried your homework. All right, so I'm going to put this through here like this. We're going to put a right angle here. I'm going to put a right angle here. And they tell you that this and this. What's up with the arrows? What does that mean? It means they're parallel to each other. Exactly right. Okay? So the question says, give me a congruent statement and give me a theorem that justifies it. Okay? Remember those two things we did earlier in that other problem? Which one was that one? It was this one right here. Give me a congruent statement and name the postulate or name the theorem. Everybody good? So this is very similar to 5, 6, and 7, except what kind of triangles are we going to have here? We're going to have right triangles. And they actually give you a choice. All right? I do. Okay? I gave you a choice. It says choose from for your reasons so that you remember what they are. Okay? You got leg, leg. You got hypotenuse angle. You got leg angle. And you got hypotenuse leg. All right. So first of all, we need to figure out, why are these two triangles congruent to each other? Well, just by looking at it, what do we know about that side? We know that that's equal, right? But we don't know any other angles except that we have right triangles. But this is what they do. Okay, they make you think a little bit. I got two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Remember that? So if I have two parallel lines cut by a transversal, that means that this angle is equal to this angle right here. Everybody see that? And that's really all you need to know, because you only need to know two things. You need to know either leg, hypotenuse angle, or hypotenuse leg. Which one of these, what is this one, by the way, on this triangle on the top, or the one on the bottom, it doesn't matter. This triangle right here, what is this side? Is it one of the legs? This is a, well, just answer this right here. This is a hypotenuse, isn't it? Okay? So, you know you're not using this, and you know you're not using that. You're going to use one of these, because it's got hypotenuse in it. You see that? All right, so which one? Are you going to use hypotenuse and an angle? Or are you going to use hypotenuse and a leg? Well, I don't know any of the legs that are equal to each other. I don't know that that's equal to this. I don't know that this one's equal to this one. But I do know what? A hypotenuse, and what else do I know? An angle. All right, so what reason are we going to use? Hypotenuse and angle. So that would be my second thing. Remember, there's two parts to this. All right, so the second one would be hypotenuse, angle. Now, I got to put some letters in here. Let's just go A, B, C, and D again. A, B, C, and D. Let's write the congruent statement. Let's do this triangle up here. See this top one right there? Let's do that one. What do you want to call this top triangle? I'll make it easy. I'm going to go A, B, C. Is that all right? I'm going to go A, B, C. So if I go A, B, C, look, A's got no arc, B's got the right angle, and C has that one arc angle. Okay? So I go from none to right to one. What am I going to call this one then? I'm going to go from none, which one has the no angle marked? The C, then I go to the right one, D, and then I go to the one, which is A. So what do? C, D, A. And that's how you do 11 to 13. All right, we've got 5 minutes. I've got to move on. 14 through 16 is just what we went over on that worksheet. So just know about mid-segments. Let's just review that very briefly, because we didn't record the review of the worksheet. Let's make this go a little bit longer. And let's just connect from there to there. It's pretty close. All right, watch how easy this one is. They give you this one's equal to that. They give you this is equal to this. All right, so that means this is a midpoint, right? That means this is a midpoint. So what's this little one in the middle then? That's the mid-segment. What if they told you the mid-segment, but they ask for that third side? 14, easy, really super easy. It takes you like 3 seconds to do that problem. Would you agree? All right, so if they give you the number of the mid-segment, you just double it to get this. They could do it the other way around, right? Just keep the same numbers. So what if they told you that this was 14 and you needed to find that? You would just divide it by 2, right? Because this is half of this. So that would be 7. Pretty easy, right? And then they're going to give you one where they put the x's in there, all right? Remember that one? Yeah, we did a bunch of those on the worksheet. So this is like x plus 2. Or this might be like 3x plus 2. This might be x plus 1 or something like that. All right? And that's where you take the longer one, right, and set it equal to twice the shorter one. All right? We went over that with the worksheet. I'm not going to go over that again. So just review that. Now, here's one that was not on the worksheet, but we have done. All right? You're going to have to know slope and distance formula for this one. Everybody hear me? So you got to know how to find the slope. It's not y equals mx plus b. Okay. So they call this one A. This is B. This is C. This is D. And this is E. This is 17 through 20, okay? So there's 4 problems that all have to do with this one picture right here. So it's 17. Actually, let's do this. Let's say 17 and 18. You want to find the slope. Whoops. Find the slope. Find the slope of a couple things. Find the slope of AB, and then find the slope of DE. Now, let me give you a huge hint on this. If I find the slope of AB, because I don't know the points of DE, do I? All right, how am I going to find that slope? Well, what's true? This is a midpoint, or this is a mid-segment, and that right there is the third side. What's true about the slopes of them? Remember, they're parallel to each other, so if they're parallel, they got the same what? They got the same slope. All right? So if I find the slope of AB, what's the slope of DE going to be? The same thing. So let's find the slope of AB. We've done this not that long ago. All right? Find the slope. How do you find the slope? Subtract the y's. 5 minus negative 1. And then subtract the x's, put it on the bottom. 6 minus negative 4. Oh, my clock's a minute slow. So what's that? 6 over 10, which is, what's that? 3/5. So if the slope of this one is 3/5, what's the slope of DE? It's going to be 3/5. One more thing, real quick. I'm not going to do the math for you. If you want to watch the other class, maybe I'll go a little faster in the other class, and we'll do this problem in the other class. But it's also going to ask you to find the distance. So 17 and 18 says find the slope. 19 and 20 says find the what? The distance. So how would I find the distance between A and B? Use the what? Distance formula. All right? So if you watch the video for the second class, my guess is we'll probably get to that. All right? So we'll do that one. But that's how you do it, okay? What if you find the distance of AB? What's the distance of DE going to be? It's not going to be the same thing. Not the distance, not the length. It's going to be half of it. That's right. So once you find the distance of AB, or the length of it, DE is going to be the same thing. All right? I'll take your worksheet tomorrow before you do the test, okay? So hang on to that worksheet. I'll take it tomorrow. Be ready for this test. Watch this video. Watch the next class's video, okay? Because I might say things in the next class that I didn't say in here.